Good morning and welcome to our WRD News Salute to Veterans Special. I'm David and today I have a special guest that's joining me. Hello, Mrs. Salinas. Welcome to our program and thank you so much for meeting with us today. Please introduce yourself and tell us your name and what branch of the military you were in.
My name is Tara Salinas, and I was in the U.S. Army.
Okay. Why did you decide to serve in the military and why did you decide on the army?
Um, I decided to join the military because I wanted to serve something greater than myself. And what better to greater serve than to serve our nation? What was the other question? I'm sorry.
Why did you decide to serve in the military, in
To
the
serve
army?
to serve to
Yeah.
serve in the army. The army wasn't my first choice. It was actually the Navy. But I walked in the door and nobody got up. And so I walked out and then I went into the army and they got up and they shook my hand and they seemed that they were interested in me. So I was like, you know what? I was interested in them and I decided to go with the army.
Okay. How long did you serve?
I served for 15 years.
Um, where were you stationed?
I did basic training at a Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I did AIT, which is our schooling for our job description, in Virginia. I was stationed in Fort Shafter, Hawaii. I did some missions in the Philippines, and I did some reserve services in Fort Shafter Flats on the reserve side in Hawaii as well.
Okay. What was the reaction from your family and friends when you decided to join?
My mom is very scared for me, but my grandma was very positive, as I do have a long lineage of family members who joined. My great grandfather was a Marine. My grandfather was a Marine that served in Vietnam, and my dad was a U.S. Army vet as well. My grandmother is very, very happy, and I was the first female out of my family to join the military.
Did you keep in touch with family and friends back home while you were serving, and if so, how?
Back then, it was mostly through letters, or we had calling cards that we were allowed to use with payphones. Um, Later on in my career, we were able to use emails as well.
What is boot camp, and what are some things you did then?
Boot camp is just basically where we learn a lot of skills like how to use our weapons, how to get in shape, how to do march and ceremony. Um, what was the second question, buddy?
What did you do then?
What did we do then? We worked out a lot. It consists of like daily workouts. We did ruck marches, which were repacking like 70 pound items that we need out in the field on our back. And we would do long ruck marches in our combat uniform with our weapons and our helmets and our IBAs, like our vest with weighted vest. We'd go on basically long walks. During that time, we did obstacle courses. We learned drill and ceremony, which is like right faces, left faces, about face, where we do like a full circle. Um, we learned cadences, which is kind of like military songs, and how to keep in a march line. You always start off with uh, right foot first. It's basically everything. We learned how to do, like how to go into gas chambers and put it on your PPE, with is like your protective gear. Anything you need to learn in like war ceremonies or war fighting, 360 perimeters. We've learned that, how to shoot our weapons, how to use back then. I don't know if they still have them, but we would use like bayonets. It's like a little weapon on top of our rifle. We would learn combat fighting, like on the ground, or we would practice amongst other soldiers. Cohesion, which is like helping other soldiers. Combat medical stuff is like how to aid if somebody's down. We would learn firemen carry. A lot of firemen use that too, like how to pack them on our shoulders and run with them. There was a lot of things that you would learn in such a little bit of time in basic training.
Can you tell us a funny moment from boot camp?
A funny moment?
Yeah.
A funny moment. I'm not too sure. I would have to think about that one. I would say it was my birthday. I turned 18 in boot camp in April, and in boot camp they don't really want you to eat like the cookies and the cakes and the sodas. It's all there, but they don't really tell you that you can eat it. It's like almost like a forbidden thing to do, because your whole purpose of boot camp is also to get your mind right and your body ready physically and to be in shape. And it wasn't just my birthday. It was like maybe 3 or 4 other soldiers that their birthday was. So our whole platoon, which is like the whole company within the barracks, and males and females alike, they decided that, if we're going to get in trouble, we're going to get all in trouble together. So we all ate cake that day, and we thought we would be okay because we did it as a team. Boy, were we wrong. They started making us do after chow, which is what they call the eating time at like lunch that you guys have, and when we sit all together and we eat. And after that we went out, and they called it smoking. That's what their term was, smoking, which it means like you break down the soldier into a bunch of like physical activities. So we were doing like a bunch of pull-ups and push-ups and running in place and jumping jacks, and we did it so much to where we all threw up, but it was well worth the risk, and we all laughed about it today. And you know what, I would eat that cake again.
Did you serve in a combat, and if so, where?
I did some humanitarian missions. We did it in the Philippines in 2009. Basically, I worked alongside with the Marine Corps, and it was in Clark Air Force Base. It was a good time. We did a lot of stuff like we painted some schools, we gave out some school books, we seen some kids, we handed them some things. I worked alongside the Filipino soldiers as well. Got to see their commandant, which is like their higher up is basically what I can say about it. Does that answer your question?
What was your job in the service?
I was a 92 Yankee, so it's called a supply specialist. It's also affiliated with a little side job that they don't really tell you until after, which is armor. So I took care of like all the military weapons as well, and I kept track of that. And I would provide anything from paper clips to military vehicles.
What was one thing you found challenging about your time in the service?
I would say when you go to other countries and you get to see how they live and what they do and how they're treated, and versus like what we have in America, it's hard to see what the rest of the world goes through, and it puts into the perspective of like how much we as Americans have and how little other countries have, and how blessed we are.
What did you like most about being in the military?
As I started going more and more into my military career, I think it was just the aspect of being able to be a leader to lower enlisted, which is like soldiers that are lower than you or have less time in service than you do, and basically guiding them and give them advice and teaching them how to do their job, and basically being a mentor to them to be able to do what they need to do.
Is there anything you would like people to understand about military service?
There is. There's it's not always about war fighting. A lot of people affiliated, soldiers with going out to war. There's a lot of good that comes out of the military. A lot of things that we do behind the scenes in other countries, like I said, give back to communities there, work with the soldiers there, help rebuild schools, help paint schools, help give clothes and shelter and stuff to the less fortunate when we go to different countries out of respect, and just working with other military affiliated entities. And it's not just about war, it's about humanitarian work as well. So basically, looking at a soldier doesn't mean that they have been deployed or they have been in combat, but to give them that same respect.
Veterans Day is a holiday that we use to celebrate and honor veterans like you. What do you think is the best way we can honor our veterans on Veterans Day?
A simple thank you is fine. You don't really with soldiers, they don't really, or any service member, they don't really do it for the praise and the glory. And a thank you goes a long way. And we don't expect it, but it's nice to hear every once in a while.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Salinas, for your time. And thank you for allowing us to interview today.
Thank you for having me.
That is it for our WRDV News today. We thank you all so much and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and wish you all happy Veterans Day. Goodbye.
Goodbye.